Hey guys, welcome back to the General's Workshop. Today we're going to be taking these tires, which were illegally dumped on our road, and we're going to try to do something good with them. So today we're going to be taking these tires, we're going to be turning them into So here's my challenge. In a few weeks, we've got our costumed overnight coming up, and my goal is to try to get done with at least 5 of these. Heavy goal would be 10 of these chairs that we can recycle, get them going, and getting them ready for that the players can sit on and we can have them for them. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done, to be quite honest, because I still wanna have a quality of life that's still there. So with that being said, guys, if you guys hang out kind of to the end, I'm gonna go ahead and let you know what cutting method I prefer as far as on these tires, because there is a variety of different ways you can get to this. Some are not all created equal, but there is by far one that is a clear winner in my book, and I'll share with you what that is towards the end. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. When you're wondering why it's hard to get through, most people aren't aware of just how much metal there is in tires. And right, getting through the edge, you're like, why is that so tough to get through when the rest of it is pretty easy? That's because of this wire right here, the steel. And then of course you also got the plies right here. This is all metal. Hey guys, so I'm gonna actually take off from the shop. We're gonna head down. I wanna show you guys something. For those of you that are wondering, how could I do this for free? One of the ways is that the wood that I'm gonna be using was actually donated to our group from a lumber mill. And here's one of the tips that maybe could benefit you is there are a lot of mills in your area, and oftentimes there's mills and or material at which they cannot use. So they have to dispose of it. You might think, well, why don't they take it home themselves? Well, when you look at the sheer volume they have to do, there's simply just too much material for any number of the workers to take home because they'd be doing it all the time. So from that perspective, they loved our cause, they love what we're doing with the Band of Brothers. And so this whole pile that I'm gonna show you here right now is from that. So for you, if you wanna go, there's a lot of times that they have to either get rid of it, they have to burn it, but if they're in a high fire area, they can't burn during the summer, so you might be doing them a favor by taking it off of their hands. So don't be afraid to go and ask the mills if they got mills in that you could kind of go through and pick, you know, that sort of thing. You might be able to get yourself lucky. So this is all cedar, and as you can see, there's a little bit of a live edge there that they can't use. Therefore, this would not be able to be utilized, but it's going to work perfect for what we need. So now we got to measure the distance from one end to the other, and we're going to go here, and that is, I'm going to do 28, but we got to angle it. So we're going to do 28 inches. So let's go ahead and get that cut, which is going to form the bottom section. And I've got that piece of wood here that I'm going to mark at 28. So the idea is that this is going to be the bottom portion. Now I want to do it, this one's a little bit wider than it is tall. So this will form the bottom, if you will. This will go over top right here. Now we're going to fasten that with some fasteners. All right, so this is going to be forming the base. Now, this wood is some cedar, so this is naturally resistant towards moisture, which is why I'm not sealing it, especially for it being outside. I'm gonna leave it as is for this project. Okay, now, for the most kind of comfortable chairs, the backrest typically leans at an angle of roughly like 10 to 15, kind of relative to the seat. So 11 is probably the most common and the most comfortable angle, especially for more of a kind of upright seating, if you will. But if you guys are looking for more of a casual, relaxed chair, then the angle could be 20 degrees or more for the backrest. And again, since I'm thinking about, I'm personally going to do it at 11 degrees. I think this is probably the most standard. And when it comes to the height of the backrest, right, for a person who's 6 feet tall, the average backrest for really comfortable chairs ranges between 32 to 36 inches above the seat. Now, the height allows a lot of adequate support for the upper back as well as the shoulders without being too high or uncomfortable. But if you're aiming for more lower back support, if you will, lumbar support, then the backrest can be around 12 to 20-ish inches as far as high. That could be sufficient. And then remember, we're going to be cutting these down to 11 as far as the angle is concerned. So I've got those now. You noticed I got to finish those off. So I'm going to use that deep throat, the deep-throated bandsaw that I've got. So that is the angle that that's going to sit at right there. I actually think that's going to be perfect. And I mean, here's the honest truth. We can always adjust it too after we get done with this. Because like I said, the costume overnight's coming up. So I've got a lot of these to try to build if I can. If I get to it, I get to it. If I don't, I don't. But the reality is I want to get done with these. I'm doing it for the kids. The way that we figure out where exactly or how far down from the crest or the top port is that we put our piece on the ground. We get it flat, right? Because this will eventually rest against that. And then we can back this up. Obviously, we wouldn't want it here. There'd be not much of a seat left. So we're gonna go off of the back just a little bit, right about here. And that allows for us to form our front and our back edge. I'm gonna be utilizing a marker like this. Okay, so that gives me my bottom end. So I can do, now that I've got that done, I can go here, then I can go here. This is gonna be this one. I wanna make sure that it's centered. There's that, and then I get to formulate my line. And then I can orientate the up and down in parallel to the treads on the tire. So I'm gonna cut that out. Then, there we go. You guys can kind of see the square. Let's go ahead and grab our angle grinder and let's get to that. So one of the things I like about this is now I can actually take this and secure these down, which will make it so that I don't have to hold on to the tire, which was a challenge earlier. So what I want to do is I'm going to leave the flap on the bottom side, so I won't be cutting this line, but I will be just on the outside of these. So this is at least gonna create my upper line so I can reference off of that. And I actually kind of remember. I'm just gonna mark those, then I'm gonna take this. So now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna shore up connecting all of these. I'm gonna kind of toenail some screws into these down into the main board piece, and then of course some into the back. Let's go ahead and get started with that. All right, so before I tell you guys my favorite cutting method for this, do me a favor. If you guys found some value out of this video, I would love it if you would consider hitting that like button and even subscribing. A high percentage of those you watching aren't subscribed, and that's just something that just helps out the channel. Got a super excited announcement. The channel has officially got its first paycheck. I'm going to be doing a different video for that though. I'd love to share with you how much that is, because I know some of you watching are the very reason why that check has been earned for us and what we do, not only with the General's Workshop, but also on how we pay that forward with the Band of Brothers. Now, for me, my favorite cutting method was by far using this, and this is an angle grinder. This is a 4.5-inch angle grinder. Absolutely love this. Now, there are some things that I want to share with you that I think I would do different, no doubt. And this is my first one of many, so I'm still kind of gathering the proper techniques, and I want to make sure I pay that forward to you guys. You'll notice that this tire is a little bit higher than this one, which gives it a gradual slope. Now, I was able to put some wedges underneath there to kind of prop that up. But nonetheless, I think what I would do is I'd be, quite a bit more diligent with making sure I was doing exact center cuts on this. And for me, I'm out at the land where the ground is very uneven. So the honest truth is, this is probably gonna work out just fine, as we'll have some sloped areas that this will go on a gentle sloping. So this will actually work out just fine. The other thing, I do love having the chemically aged look versus a real pristine look, right? When you cut something, it kind of brings it back to that new flavor, and I wanted to get rid of that, so I appreciated that. The other thing is I would probably end up bracing these by putting like a piece of material in this when I'm going to cut it. You'll notice that when I went to cut this inner line where it's got that real thick heavy gauge steel wire going through it, that was probably the most difficult to get through. Excuse me. And so if I put a 4x4 in there and then cut down on it, it doesn't allow it to kind of move. And that moving target just makes it a little bit harder to get through. But nonetheless, there is another technique if you guys want. You can actually use like a propane torch or something to spray down the wood and to heat it. That'll actually give it a charring or a burn kind of flavor. I've seen that. But this has turned out fantastic for a rustic DIY out at the land, kind of impervious. If these do start to kind of go out, I can always replace these pretty easy, but these tires are gonna last forever. So to me, this is not designed for a portable type chair system, but for what it's designed for is just to be out there, stay out there. And the honest truth, if someone ends up taking it, I guess I got back on those that illegally dumped it. I made value out of it, so they steal it back. Well, they illegally dumped, and now they would be taking it. So, but super excited. Let's try to put a batch of these out so we've got places to sit for everyone. Hey, thanks again for watching. And again, if you guys can, give me a thumbs up. We'll go from there. Have a great day, everyone.